All right, welcome to our deals of the week. We've got a couple of great houses this week, but the first one I want to start with, and I know if you're looking at the picture here, it's crazy expensive, but just stick with me here. Imagine that you were in the market for a $2.5 million house that arguably or inarguably is absolutely gorgeous. Would this be something that you would consider? And there's an argument for this house should be a hard pass for anybody. But I don't know. I don't know. That's why I'm curious. I drive by this house a lot. It is on Coffee Pot Boulevard, which, if you're not familiar with this area, I'm going to show you. It's like 2 minutes from downtown, and it's on Coffee Pot Bayou, which is this right here. So let me back out a little bit more so you can see where downtown is. So here's downtown. This is the heart of downtown. And to get to this house, you just have a beautiful drive along the water on Bayshore over to Coffee Pot, and then there's your house. Brick Street, I mean, it's just a gorgeous drive. So this is one of the nicest neighborhoods. It's kind of technically considered the Old Northeast or Grenada Terrace. It's in that area. All the houses on the street are absolutely gorgeous. And I'm going to show you a quick street view of this so you can see just what you would be getting if you decided to buy this house. So this is Coffee Pot Bayou, and your front yard is on the water. Essentially across the street you're on the water. So inarguably a beautiful house. Just want to go through and show you a few pictures, and then I'm going to show you what I mean by for a lot of people this would be a hard pass. Beautiful pool, obviously. Front yard is Coffee Pot Bayou. You can see downtown off in the distance, not far. I mean, it's a 2-minute drive downtown. This is your front porch. And I know I'm going kind of fast here. This is all custom touches here. This house is just stunning. Every square foot is super cool. So here's why I brought this up. At over $2 million, $2.5 million. These pictures are from when it was flooded. And this is what happens in Florida when a house floods. They cut the drywall up to a certain point, and usually will run new electric down here, install new subfloors, and you're back in business. The problem is that at this price, 2.4 million, would you want to be in a flood zone? Would you, under any circumstances, buy a house? And this is not a 5 or a 6 where it's moderate or high. This is an extreme. What's going to happen in the next storm is most likely that water is going to come back up over that street and flood your first floor again. And let me see if I can jump back into the street view. I just found this house a few minutes ago, so I wanted to see. So there's an empty lot here. This is an unelevated house. A lot of these houses were built like in the 20s and stuff. That's an older house there, above the floodplain. So just drop a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on if you had the money and you could get into the coolest neighborhood in St. Pete, the Old Northeast neighborhood on Coffee Pot Bayou. This is a great address. Would you take a chance on a house that just 2 years ago, the entire bottom floor was flooded and somebody had to come back in and put this house back together? And not to belabor the point, I want to just see if we've got the pricing only just goes back to when it was on the market a few weeks ago when it came on the market. And they've already knocked the price down $200,000, which tells you that maybe the premium prices for an unelevated house in a flood zone, even a beautiful house like this, are not what they used to be. So drop a comment, let me know what your thoughts are on that. And let's jump over and take a look at our first house. And this is a really, we got two really good deals. To be honest with you, there's a lot of sellers out there that are being terribly unrealistic about the pricing of their houses. But if you're looking kind of for like a solid, block family home that maybe you can put a little bit of money into it over the years as the housing market stabilizes, this might be one of them. This is in the Meadow Lawn neighborhood. Now, I will tell you right up front that when I see a Meadow Lawn address, I immediately think flood zone. And I'll show you on the map where it is. This is where we were just looking, and this is downtown St. Pete. Oh, got to go down a little bit further. This is downtown right here. So this is an easy drive, maybe 15 minutes tops. But this neighborhood has some flooding parts. So this whole area here, this Edgemore, for the most part, is a flood zone. Good chunks of this are flood zone too. And I think I did, let me see if I think I have the map. So here's the flood map for this particular house. And you can see that all this purple here is AE flood zone, and then these little jagged parts are X500. That's not a flood zone. So we're some distance away here. So it's not in a flood zone, even though, and I do love homes.com to use for our home search, it shows that flood is a major factor. So always double check, ask your agent to give you the flood zone code and maybe even show you the flood map, because it could be out of the flood zone, but it could be out of it by one street, and that might not be enough for you. I'd like to have a little bit more of a buffer than that. And this one seems to be far enough out of the flood zone. So let's take a look at the pricing action on this one and see if we have some hints that we have a motivated seller. This house went on the market. I mean, look at this. It's 2021. It sold for $350, and February of this year they put it up for $434. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4 price changes and a pending when it was priced at $399. So a deal fell through. So this is an aggressive, good job on their pricing strategy here. They're down to $389 or $235 a square foot, which to me, if you're looking for a move-in ready house, and it's not going to be a custom job, obviously, but a decent house, a block house, and you can get it for $230 something a square foot, it's worth taking a look at. Again, the curb appeal, I would argue, is pretty good here. This poor little palm tree here is just a little, I mean, it could use some landscaping up front, but the actual aesthetics of the house, I think is pretty good. And inside, you have sort of old neutral tile, and in place of baseboards, they put the tile up on the wall, which is not a terrible touch. The flow is a little maybe less than ideal. I mean, most people want the open kitchen, so this wall would probably have to go at some point if you really wanted to open that up. Kitchen in the front of the house, some people have a problem with that as well, but nice virtually staged photos here show you what it could be, and it looks actually pretty good to me. Big open living area. Now this back room here obviously was a Florida room at some point that was enclosed. And then you have the Lumadome ceilings up here, which scream like 70s, but really 80s is when you saw that. These cabinets are sort of the older oak cabinets, but look like they're in pretty good shape. I can't tell on the countertops if that's solid surface or Formica, but the house looks clean and well cared for. And this is, they still have the sliding glass door here. Here's the track. You have an AC system. I mean, you have the vents up here, so you have AC. You have regular windows here. I'm not sure why. I don't know if I would keep the sliders here or not, to be honest with you. They're kind of out of the way behind this wall, so for a little privacy, I guess you could keep those. I'd probably get rid of them to make it feel like it was more part of the house. I don't know. Got a full 1-car garage, ensuite bathroom. The other bathroom obviously needs some updating. Black shower tile, that's got to go. Decent sized closet. This bathroom is certainly serviceable for now. We've got a lot of the crank out windows here. Always check that. We prefer impact windows, obviously, but these are probably the original windows, the crank outs. So it looks like some updates. Very plain backyard. This is kind of a blank canvas outside. Imagine a nice big deck out here. You could easily get a pool back here. Get some trees up here. Make this nice and lush. So let me know your thoughts. This is a pretty good house, I would say. We're not in a flood zone. Nothing is super new here, but we are now back to 2022 pricing. Really, I mean, what was it? They sold it in 2021 for 359 or 350, which was 211 a square foot. And 5 years later, they're just at 389 after transaction costs. They're going to lose some money. So, this is a good deal. This is a really good deal. I would say I put my price target maybe a little bit lower, but I don't think it has to be a lot lower. I think you could go in at 375. Maybe they break even after all their transaction costs. Everybody's happy. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think about this one. This is in the Meadow Lawn neighborhood of St. Pete. For $389, you could get a full 3.2 with a one-car garage, not converted, for $235 a square foot. I would say that's pretty good. Let me know your thoughts. And with that, let's take a look at house number 2. All right, let's take a look at house number 2. This is in the Jungle Terrace neighborhood. Increasingly popular neighborhood. I think I've done a few deals of the week there, so you may be familiar with where it is, but let's just take a quick look. It's on the west side of St. Pete. This is east, this is west. So you're getting close to the water over here. And these are all like multi-million-dollar houses along this Jungle Prada and Park Street. But this is a really good spot. It is not in a flood zone. And you can see here, for being so close to the water, even Homes.com gives it a 1 out of 10. Let's just check the pricing action while we're here. This house has been on the market since February again, and they started at $520. It last sold in 2019, so that's kind of way slightly pre-pandemic pricing. So they put it up in February for $520. They've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 price changes. That's very nice, very aggressive. They're probably getting into a price now where they're going to start getting some action at $439. I love to see this. $279 a square foot to live in Jungle Terrace is pretty good to me. May not be exactly there yet, but I'd say it's still pretty good. It's a plain block house. There's nothing super fancy about it. Nice big backyard, a screen porch, an open kitchen. Looks like they remodeled this not too long ago. Fireplace, bathroom has been remodeled. And this would have been, is that the garage? There's no garage. Okay, so that would have been the garage. Usually when you see a little step down like that, we know that it's a converted something or other. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think about taupe walls. When there's no furniture in them, it just looks drab to me. So a little staging would go a long way. But this is a super clean house. This is not high-end by any stretch. This is probably a one-piece. Well, they have the bathtub and then this fiberglass piece that goes over it. I'm not crazy about those, but it's not terrible. Looks like they did spend some money in that bathroom. The floors look great. Big back porch or big back screen porch. And you got your hurricane shutters in here and a nice storage shed because you don't have a garage. This house looks pretty good to me, to be honest with you. And let's see what they've got for new stuff. It says the home is updated, clean, move-in ready. It doesn't tell us, it doesn't give us any of the details on the roof age or any of that stuff, but it does look like a fairly recent renovation. So we've got a 3.2, almost 1,600 square foot at $279 per square foot. Drop a comment, let me know what you think. Aesthetically, obviously the curb appeal of the house is not, it's not going to blow anybody away. They did some work here though. These do look like impact windows to me. They've got themselves set up with the hurricane shutters. I don't think we have a full picture of the front of the house, so it's hard to get a real good feel for the sort of curb appeal. But drop a comment, let me know what you think. This is $279 a square foot. I would argue that this house is going to go at this price. They're down 81 grand. So we're non-flood zone, a full 3.2, no garage, a converted garage, which is, not ideal, but I think this house goes off at $419, just a little bit under where it is now. Drop a comment, let me know what you think. Hit the subscribe button so you get notified of new videos. My name is Steve Reynolds. I'm a realtor here in St. Pete. If you're looking to buy or sell anywhere in the Bay Area, shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email. I would love to help you out. And with that, I will see you next time.